My name's Bob Corby. I'm the village mayor. Tonight, we're going to hear some information about our community solar program. Just a little background, in 2019, we finished a new comprehensive plan for the village. One of the primary areas for recommendations of that plan was improving sustainability. That included a variety of items, including trying to harness green sources of power, which is exactly what this community solar program does. We also have offered a community choice aggregation program, which also harnesses green power. We're currently working with Roctricity and Joule Power to go out to bid again in that program, and we'll let you know more information as we get the bids back. So with that, I'll hand it over to whoever's going to speak next.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for that introduction. So I guess the first thing we'd like to do is maybe start off with some slides here. So I'm going to ask Sue to pull up that slide presentation and share her screen. And then we will talk a bit about the program. So you may have already seen this. The name of the program is Monroe Community Power, and that's not a company. That's just a name we have established for the program because there are a number of municipalities involved in particular, but some entities involved, and I want to talk a little bit about that partnership in just a minute. But this presentation this evening is really about the Village of Pittsford's participation in the Monroe Community Power Program. And you've heard from Bob Corby, the mayor, and my name's Ben Freebert, and I am with Roctricity. And again, I'll talk a little bit about the partnership that is at play here. And we'll also hear this evening from Victor Melendez, who works with Joule Community Power. And again, we'll talk a little bit about that partnership in a minute. So again, we'll talk about the partnership, and then we're going to talk about what community choice aggregation is. And we're going to be kind of brief on that because we really want to hit the topic of community solar tonight. And I think you'll see why as we share some of the details there. And we'll talk about the benefits of community solar, a little bit about a case study, so maybe it's easy to help you understand how this has benefited some other communities. And then we're going to spend a little bit of time on the enrollment process. We've been getting quite a few questions about the enrollment process, so we want to spend a little time talking about that. And then we'll touch on some questions and answers. We'll start off there with some frequently asked questions that we've been fielding that might be coming top of mind for you. And then we'll have some time when attendees at the webinar can ask questions using the Q&A feature. And we'll just touch very briefly when we get there about how you can make sure you know where that is so that you can use that feature. So,
hey, Ben, also mention the interpreter if folks are able to pin.
Well, I think we decided that we would put things in gallery view. Okay. But there is an ASL interpreter this evening. So if that is of benefit to you, be sure, if you haven't noticed her already, her name's Allie, and she is signing away there. So that's good. And I think that you can select to pin her if you would like to. So you can do it. If you don't, then she is available in a smaller window the entire time. Okay, so the partnership. Let's talk about who's involved in this partnership. First of all, there are several communities. There's the town of Brighton, the town of Arundequoit, the town of Pittsford, as well as the village of Pittsford. In no specific order there. But it is helpful with these communities programs to bring several communities to bear to bring some bulk buying power to the CCA element. But the fact that they're all working together under Monroe Community Power does not limit them from doing making some selections about these programs that better fit their community specifically. So there's still a measure of autonomy available to each community, and we think that's very important. Next, in the middle of the screen, you'll see Joule Community Power, and they're the administrator. They've been approved by the state, by the Public Service Commission. to administer these sorts of programs for municipalities statewide. So they're really very, very key to making this work. And as I mentioned, I work for Roctricity. We are the local program manager. And what that means is that we really are taking the lead on the public outreach, trying to get information out to the public through meetings like this one, as well as some other avenues, social media and some other publications to try to inform people about how the programs work and what their options are and how to take action if they so choose. So that's the partnership that falls under the heading of Monroe Community Power. So just a bit of a step back, and these programs really stem from an effort at the state level to get 70% of the electricity that we use in our homes and small businesses from renewable sources by 2030. And that is seen by many as a pretty ambitious goal, but these programs really are part of that statewide effort. But it really takes action and leadership at a local level. So leadership by local municipal officials to put these programs in place and to have an interest in moving toward sustainability, because these programs really at their heart are about sustainability. So you'll see the names of both programs there: community choice aggregation, I think I've used that term already a couple of times, and community distributed generation. That may sound a little bit new, but that's the state's terminology, the Public Service Commission's terminology for community solar. Community solar really falls under the community distributed generation heading. So that's just a little bit of an explanation about how these programs are coming together to meet some of the state's goals. So with that, next slide, we will talk a little bit about how the two programs work together. One thing is, it's important to note that both programs really are aimed at both reducing carbon emissions and reducing customer costs while providing some protections for customers. So that customer protection element is really important, and that comes from the fact that Joule is really expert in negotiating the contracts and making sure that the contracts between the municipal level program and the providers are favorable to the consumers. So that is a really important element. But the two programs do differ. There's some differences between the two. So first, community choice aggregation is an opt-out program, and it's aimed at providing supply, addressing that supply part of your bill for residents and small businesses. And the community choice program under Monroe Community Power is a 100% New York State renewable energy program. So we're really targeting renewable energy with the CCA program. And it's a cost savings opportunity, and we're aimed at fixed rate contracts there. So that's probably a little more detail than we really need on community choice aggregation, since we're going to really focus on community solar tonight. But community solar, by comparison, is an opt-in program. Now, that means that you have to take action if you want to be part of the community solar program. You need to take action and enroll, and we'll hear a bit more about how you might go about that if you want to enroll. This program will help to support local community solar farms. So those solar farms that are in RG&E territory, and we'll touch on where those solar farms are in just a little bit. And these programs guarantee savings on the order of 10%, although that's a kind of a ballpark, but the target really is 10%. And they generate some funds for your local municipal sustainability fund, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that is. But this is an effort for us to bring some monies to bear from these projects to help communities with other sustainability efforts that they have. So next slide, if you would. So I'm just going to talk very briefly, one slide only, about what CCA is before we dive into community solar. So this is a policy put in place by the state, the Public Service Commission, back in 2016, that enables municipalities to source energy on behalf of residents and small businesses. So the municipality has to take some steps to put this in place and then go forward to negotiate on behalf of those customers in the municipal boundaries for electricity supply. And it's really a win-win-win. It's win for all because those customers can save money, they can enjoy clean energy, and they're protected by some of the consumer protection elements that I touched on very briefly, because they're not having to sign a contract put in place by the third-party supplier, but rather fall under the protection of the agreement between the municipality and that third-party supplier. So those consumer protections are very important. So we think this is a really good program. The market conditions right now are not favorable for CCA. We keep probing that market to see if it's favorable for customers right now, and it's not. So we're waiting, watching that market, and we hope to put CCA in place hopefully very soon. But we'll continue monitoring that and let you know when that begins to move forward. So with that brief overview of CCA, we'd like to turn now to community solar, and I'm going to turn it over to Vic for that.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Corby. Thank you, Ben, the whole Roctricity team. Happy to be here. So looking at community solar from a bird's eye view, what is a community solar project? It is a mid-size renewable generator. It is equal to somewhere between 400 and 800 residential rooftop installations. So if you were installing solar panels on your roof, somewhere between 400 and 800 of those installations is equivalent to what one of these solar farm projects would be and would move toward generating. What does that allow us to do, or what does that allow the industry to do? It increases our access to the benefits of renewable energy. The energy that is produced by one of these generators or a solar farm doesn't feed directly into our homes. It feeds into the utility grid, increasing the amount of renewable energy from solar as its source into RG&E's utility grid. By doing so, it increases how much renewable energy is in that grid, and we are now moving New York State's plan by 2030 of 70% renewable energy generation forward. Where does our dynamic partnership come into play? Is because a lot of these solar projects, these developers have a lot of trouble doing outreach and engagement and procurement of contracts and subscriptions and residents and to support these projects. And so by stepping in and doing dynamic partnerships with organizations like Roctricity, your municipality, your village, and other municipalities in the area and throughout the state, we're able to make sure that we're protecting our local residents, the consumer, seeing that the benefits are really reaching our target, and that's all of us that have our homes and our residents, and making sure that those of us who cannot access renewable energy through installations on our own properties, or maybe we're renters, do gain access to this. So we're able to do marketing and outreach and bring a good vetted project to municipal residents. So I called this slide Community Solar 101. Basically, how does the program work? You subscribe to a share of that solar farm. This is not you purchasing a solar panel on the farm. You're subscribing to a representation of that solar generation. It's a share of the farm. That farm then generates renewable energy, and that energy it feeds directly into the utility grid. For that, what you'll be receiving is you purchase an energy credit, and you purchase that at a discount. And that discount is roughly 10%. They calculate it on average over the year. So that's why we say it's roughly 10%, or an estimate 10%. And that is how you realize savings on your electric bill. Some important things to note is that you still continue to receive your bill from RG&E. You still receive a bill from RG&E. You will now also be receiving another piece of paper, another document, or another email from the solar provider. These two are working closely together to make sure that the numbers represent savings. This does not mean that you're paying twice for the same services or the same electric use. Another important note is that if you already have solar panels installed on your home, you will not qualify for the program. You can't participate, but it's for a good reason. You're already accessing the benefits of renewable energy by producing at home. So looking more closely at some other benefits, who qualifies for this program? Residents and small businesses. If you happen to have a demand meter on your property, then you will not qualify for the business. Some folks are aware that they have a demand meter on their account. If not, it's very easy to identify it by looking at your bill, or you can always call RG&E or call our helplines, which we'll share a little bit later on, to figure out whether you qualify or not. You will see savings on your electric bill. So that's another very clear benefit. This does support the generation of local renewable energy. Ben mentioned it earlier. What does local mean in this situation? It is any, let me say that a little bit different. The solar farms are sited and developed within the utility grid. So it exists within RG&E's grid footprint. The utility is still responsible for delivering and maintenance of electricity, delivery of electricity and maintenance of the service lines and the poles, any problems with your home or any interruptions during storm events, damage that is done, the utility is responsible for that. And again, I mentioned that there is no need to install panels on your roof. You are able to get the benefits of these credits and realize savings on your bill without having to do any construction on your own home. Another embedded program benefit here is that the partnerships of Roctricity and the Village and Joule Community Power provides ongoing education, outreach, marketing support, and a helpline that you can call, and we will help answer questions, have conversations about the industry, or if you are already enrolled or plan on enrolling, we can help through that process and clarify maybe any bumps in the road along the way. This is an active subscription-based program. So Ben mentioned it, the CCA program is an opt-out program. You would consider this an opt-in program. You have to actively choose to participate and enroll in it. For that process of signing up, there is no fee to sign up. If you would like to cancel, you can cancel at any time. There is no fee related to canceling. We do ask, however, that once you decide to cancel, to allow 1 or 2 pay cycles for all of the documentation, paperwork, and numbers to line up for the disenrollment process to be complete, for you to be removed from the system. Contractually, it'll state up to 90 days, but that is a time frame that is set to allow for everything to be clarified and to be smooth, to go smoothly. One of the fun things, I'm going to note customer protection in a moment again, so I'm going to wait on that. But one of the more exciting benefits here is the Giving Back program. Joule Community Power allocates $50 for every enrollment into a fund. We call that the Sustainability Fund. That fund is discretionary funds that the municipality can use toward a program, a project, sometimes even if it's research that moves their community further down the road of sustainability. What's exciting to note is that the village has already raised, since we launched this program under a month and a half ago, truly, we've raised $1,350 toward this fund. And the village is focusing on doing improvement projects around the village arboretum, which is going to be really exciting. This isn't the only community that has seen success throughout the state. There's a lot of really good examples. of participating in this program and the use of the sustainability fund. Geneva Community Power and all of the communities, the towns around the Finger Lakes, they participated in this program roughly 2 years ago. They set a goal of 400 subscriptions. They raised $25,000, which was roughly 15% of their residents' population that chose to opt in. And they used those funds for watershed management, stormwater management programs, and restoration efforts around the lakes. Further south in the state, we also had smaller communities. This is an example of efforts that happened in the town of New Paltz and the town of Marbletown. And I put this slide in here to say we like to take every opportunity possible, especially in these times of us not being able to get together as much as we'd like, to celebrate the successes of these programs. This town was able to raise $9,000. They decided to put those funds toward extending an existing trailway system that connected two communities and a historic walkway. So that's just really exciting to highlight these moments and to share it with our community members and to show that we're still doing strong work for our citizens and our people. Now, some highlights of the enrollment process. And this is over the last 2 months, 3 months that we've been answering phone calls and connecting with Roctricity and working diligently to make sure that we're providing good programming. There is an auto pay setup that is required through the solar provider we're working with. That solar provider's name is Ambient, and that auto pay system is required for enrollment. The RG&E bill that you receive can also be set up on enrollment on an auto pay system. What's important to note is that if you have your existing RG&E bill set up to be paid automatically, and you have an auto pay system set up to pay your solar provider, this will not cause a double payment to occur. The numbers are justified and the math is done between the utility and the solar provider that even with these auto pays set up, you will not be double charged. Your information is secure. Your privacy is protected. The Public Service Commission has set strict qualifications that not only the administrator, Joule, Community Power, our local partners, and the solar providers and the solar developers, these qualifications have to be followed to protect your information and your security and your safety. A good example of that is our call center at no point has access to any of your private banking information. That all is entered through a secure login system that we can only see if your process has been complete or not, but not anything that occurred during that process. Let me note also that the enrollment, to make sure that you're enrolling in your village's program, in your community's program, you need to visit www.monroecommunitypower.com. And we have a couple of slides that kind of show exactly what that's going to look like when you do so. But visiting that website ensures that you are enrolling in your community's program. We do not do door-to-store marketing. So if there's a lot of great solar providers out there doing wonderful work. And one of our designs is not to do door-to-door. So if you have a marketer come to your door and say that I am with your community solar program, it is not the one that's been vetted, approved, and supported by your municipality. I mentioned net metering doubles also in the conversation of having demand metering. It's not every account qualifies. I recommend you call our helpline that will provide the information for later, and we can walk you through whether your program, whether your account qualifies. The length of contract is also very important to note. And I know this is a lot of information dense. I'm happy that we're recording this evening so people can refer back to it. The length of the contract is ongoing, and it starts with a 5-year cycle and then renews every 2 years, and it continues that way. What we have heard of a concern is that, does that mean the solar provider can change the agreement details? in those renewal turnovers? The answer is no. That cycle of turning over does not allow them to walk in and change the agreement details that have been negotiated by Joule Community Power in this process. And then we're going to go through a couple of steps for enrollment. So first and foremost, you have to visit the website. I'm going to move through this a little quicker than I did the other pieces. First and foremost, you visit www.monroecommunitypower.com. You'll navigate up to the solar tab at the top. You'll see the menu. It'll give you a clear option to enroll. And the next slide will show exactly that. You'll be asked to select your municipality. By selecting it, it means that the $50 is allocated to your community. You'll be asked to enter your zip code and to verify your utility provider. Then at that point, you'll be asked to put in your private personal information and the information required to complete enrollment. That step takes you off of the Joule website onto a secure platform and a website where you can install or insert or input all of that safely. So this shows you in graphics what it is. You'll go to the website and you'll navigate up to the solar and you'll select that. As you'll see that the scroll down bar will give you a couple of different options. Now note, there's a lot of good information in there. So when you visit the website, visit to learn as well. We would love for you to enroll and support your municipality's program, but there's a lot of great information in here. So you would select enroll. And it's going to take you to another page where you would be selecting your municipality. And you'll go ahead and select that municipality. On this slide as well, there's a lot of great information that outlines the stipulations of the base agreement. We will soon be putting a video similar to what you're seeing now embedded on this page as well. And you see, it'll give you the towns involved in the program. That's the village of Pittsford. You'll select that. And then it shifts you to another website where you'll begin to start putting in your personal information. But first, the zip code. And before you're done with that, it'll ask you to verify your utility provider, which is RG&E. And then this page is where you begin to put in your information. At this point, once you hit next, it shifts you into a secure site that moves you through the process of enrollment. If you have any problems with that enrollment process, you call our helplines and we'll be able to lead you through and help troubleshoot where needed. And those next slides, which is more difficult for us to capture because they are secure, will allow you to enter in your utility, actual account number. You'll get an email that validates that account. You'll be asked to create a secure password to log into your account and to review and sign the agreement. That agreement allows the solar provider to review your electric usage over the year to decide how much is going to be allocated in your credit, which is going to roughly balance what you use each year because that's the goal. There are a couple of different ways of actually completing your payment information here. You will be allowed to validate a few micro deposits. What that is once you put in your account information, it will put two small, there will be two small deposits made, probably 5 cents, 10 cents. You will go in after a day or two and see those amounts, log in to your Ampian account and validate it by entering in the amounts you see in your bank account. That validates that that's your account. That is the end of the validation process. None of that information is saved for that, but it's linked together. None of the information is visible from our side at customer service or sold or shared to third-party providers. Now, when we started this process, we had 4 active solar farms that were filling up, and they were filling up fast. They were filling up even faster than we thought they were. And we're excited to announce that those 4 that we were supporting the enrollment to have completely filled. And that's a wonderful thing. In lieu of those being filled, if you go to the next slide, we have 2 more that are being developed and going live in September of this year. Those two are filling up at a rapid rate, but they're not filling up at such a rate that we cannot get a lot of enrollments in and make sure that we're positioned to start realizing those savings. So we do encourage everyone to sign up, or if you have any questions and concerns about it, to find out more information to see if you want to do it. There are more farms coming online through our provider set with the qualifications that we've negotiated. But getting in there early, first of all, helps support the development of these sites. The more subscriptions they have, the quicker these sites can go live, the more renewable energy in our system, and the more we can realize our savings sooner.
Thanks, Vic.
Thank you.
So next steps. Let's talk about what the next steps are. If you want to enroll, then as Vic reviewed there, you want to visit monroecommunitypower.com and go through that enroll process. And again, if you have any struggles in doing that, or you just have questions about the program or the process, please call us at 585-244-0244. So that brings us to a bit of Q&A session. So be thinking of any questions that you might have. And in the meantime, we'll run through a few frequently asked questions. So first of all, can I participate in the CCA and in community solar at the same time? Vic?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yes,
and part of the reason we bring that up is because while the CCA program isn't going into place right now, we've had some people ask, well, should I join the community solar or not if I really want to make sure I'm in the CCA program? So yeah, the answer is yes, you can be in both of those programs. Don't let that dissuade you from joining the community solar.
Right, they work really well together.
Yeah. Can I have an ESCO and community solar? Well, while it may not seem like it, we've had people ask this question. That's kind of the same question. You can have a third-party supplier, an ESCO. That's what the ESCO, I think, is energy services company technically, but that's a third-party supplier. And again, you can do both of those. So if you already have an ESCO, you can join the community solar program. What
is really good to note here is reach out to your ESCO as well, because we've been coming across a couple of folks who have an ESCO, but they also are enrolled in the community solar program through their ESCO. If you're already enrolled in a community solar program, whether it's through an ESCO or otherwise, you do not qualify for another community solar program because you're already doing great work at accessing those benefits.
Yes, which is part of the answer to the next question.
Oh,
what if I already have solar on my roof? Or as the question Vic just answered is, what if I'm already subscribed to a solar farm? So yeah, that's really helpful to know for people that if you're already subscribed to a solar farm under whatever circumstances, you can't do two of those. And that applies to solar on your roof as well. Now, if you're subscribed to another solar farm, you could, of course, make a switch if you felt like that was the right thing for you to do. We're not pushing people to do that if they don't want to, but it is an option if you want to do that. So how many bills will folks see, Vic?
They'll see 2 bills.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's right. You'll see 2 bills. One is from RG&E, and on that bill, you'll see the credits. The credits will reduce the amount you need to send in to RG&E. And the second bill is from Ampion. And that bill will be for about 90%, well, exactly 90% of the value of the credits that reduce your RG&E bill. So there's where the 10% savings goes. You're saving 10% on that value of the credits applied to your bill. So we kind of answered this next one about how much you'll save. We're targeting 10%. The difference is that it can be very difficult to get the credits, the value of the credits, to strictly match up to your electric bill. So it's really 10% of the value of credits that you'll realize, as opposed to 10% of the entire electric bill. So that's an important point. So what happens, Vic, if they don't use all of the credits in a given month?
The credits are actually carryover credits. So if you don't use all of the credits in a given month, they do carry over. They're cumulative, and so you'll have more credits the following month. people have asked the question of, well, does that mean that I can have this super surplus at the end of the year? It ends up balancing out. Your usage ends up balancing out. Sun generation and how much electricity we use in our homes to heat our homes, cool our homes, adjust throughout the year. So surprisingly, it ends up balancing out. But you'll see credits, some additional credits, accumulative credits from month to month, depending on your usage.
Yeah. Yeah. And we hope that this balances out those times that I mentioned before where the credits don't really cover all of your bill.
Right.
Right. So we hope that that balances out. It's tricky to get that to exactly match, but. So who pays that $50 for the sustainability fund? Is that the customer? Does the customer have to pay that?
So no. And there's something else I really want to mention here too, is the customer does not have to pay that 50. The municipality does not have to pay that 50. And let me take a moment to say the municipalities that we work with are also not responsible for paying any of the marketing costs for the mailers those direct dedicated mailers that everyone would have received in their mail over the last couple of weeks and months. That does not come out of taxpayer money. So I just wanted to mention that. But no, Joule Community Power pays that 50. So out of our budget, we allocate $50 for every enrollment, and that goes right into the fund. And we love for the funds to, well, the fun part about this for us is that we do not restrict what we would love to see happen with the funds. And so it's great to see municipalities have the ability to use those funds as needed and to do good work.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the municipality doesn't pay that $50 either. And in fact, a step further, the municipality ends up receiving that money, right? That's where the money's going. So yeah, that's a very good point to make. Let's talk a little bit again, Vic, about the safety of people's personal information. And the reason we want to really hit that one again is that we do get that question sometimes, and it's a valid concern for people. So yeah, maybe just step through that again briefly.
Definitely. Thank you. And I really like the way we wrote this here. And so, is my information safe? And yes, the Public Service Commission, New York State's Public Service Commission, each state has their own Public Service Commission. New York State's requires and they mandate all parties involved in the work that we do to make sure that there are data plans set to protect the consumer. And then not only that, then individually, Joule, Roctricity, all of the parties involved have set their own their own levels of security to make sure that we're all protecting your best interest, the municipal interests, ourselves in the process. And so there is at no time that information, your entire portfolio of information is available to anyone. We have set third-party companies that professionally audit and protect data, and that is where that information lies.
Great. So that's the end of our frequently asked questions. So let's take a look and see if we have, it looks like we have at least one question. So the question says, I'm signing up right now and I got to a credit card payment page. Can I not do auto pay from my bank account? It says there is a 3.5% convenience fee. Did I do something wrong? Well, yeah, let's step through that, Vic. That's helpful.
Right. No, you didn't do anything wrong. There is, when you use your credit card, there is an associated 3.5% fee on it. I encourage people not to use their credit card to enroll and to do the validation through the bank account. That process, there's no fee related to it. And again, as we were stating, those are secure platforms. I personally am not a big fan of the 3.5%, but you're not doing anything wrong. There's different options there.
There's two options, and one of them costs 3.5%, but the other one does not. And yeah, so that's good. Okay.
That was real-time help.
Yeah, that's right. and yeah, that's right. If you struggle with that tomorrow when you go to sign up or the next day, you remember our phone number's there, 585-244-0244.
And these are exactly the things we're in place to help deal with. So that's wonderful.
Exactly. I don't see any further questions at the moment. So yeah, I guess we will Just looking here. Yeah, I don't see anything else, new questions. So let's, I guess let's move on to talk about some final issues. Well, we mentioned this already. The place to go to enroll is monroecommunitypower.com. And we talked about how to do that. And again, maybe we'll touch on the fact that this is being recorded. You could go visit the Monroe Community Power Facebook page to watch this video again, if you wanted to be reminded about any of these features. So that might be helpful. And again, you can always call us for any help.
Search if you are social media savvy, search for us on Facebook. Search for us on Instagram. There's a couple of different platforms that we're using, and follow us there. Also follow your local municipal website, visit their website, visit whatever platforms they have. They're always providing good information. So we're trying to get the word out. If you are interested in also helping us spread the word, please do reach out to us or forward the link to this video. Visit our website, forward the link to the website if you want to share it with family, friends, coworkers, some of the groups that we're members of. Please do help get the word out. If you like what you're hearing, call and ask us a lot of questions so that you can like what you're hearing and then share the word. Either way, we appreciate it.
Yep. Okay, so thank you. Thank you for attending and listening and spreading the word. And there's contact information if you need to get in touch with us.
Thank you so much, everyone.